894 days selling. Holding fear and greed at 42, which is fear, and Bitcoin's currently trading at the 46.1k. Short term still looking pretty bearish for us. All of the indicators on the daily looking pretty negative. 4-hour time frame is kind of looking neutralish, but still the current support would be at a 43%. The current resistance would be at a 60k. I mean, did I just say 43%? At a 43k support and 60k resistance, this type of channel. Daily time frame pretty much in the same area. Weekly time frame is still kind of looking bullish on some of the indicators, like MACD 50 to 100 MA below the current candle. So, but for example, on MACD there's a pretty serious curve to the downside, which is pretty bad one. And monthly time frame is obviously still looking bullish, which is pretty nice. So I'm not getting a lot of comments on my YouTube channel, and those things are pretty rare one for me. And majority of time those comments are from some spammers, you know, one of those promoters of Telegram or WhatsApp, whatever the thing is. But the recent one was pretty nice one, pretty good one. And the comment was, don't forget the Bitcoin also compete, and I forget it actually, not gonna lie. Don't forget that Bitcoins also compete against the DXY, and in the short term DXY is bullish. Which is true, actually. If you're gonna look at the DXY, and you need to look at the weekly time frame on DXY. The reason why is actually this thing is moving insanely slowly, and the reason why I forgot about DXY because it was moving pretty flat for the weeks actually here, and I totally forgot the DXY. So DXY had a nice W-shaped recovery, literally the same as it was on a, for example, stock market, but on a stock market you gotta look at the daily time frame, where on the DXY you should look at the weekly time frame. On the stock market, for example, in September it had a correction from after making new all-time high since the COVID March correction, the bottom that we created, and then we had a reversal, V-shaped recovery, nice one, and obviously new all-time high. Then we had a correction, double-shaped recovery on the daily time frame on the stock market was a pretty good one. On a DXY, literally the same, but on a weekly time frame, it's pretty visible one, double-shaped recovery. And obviously it's after that it was the complete uptrend, the same way as on the stock market. So obviously DXY is mid-short term, he said mid-short term is bullish. Yeah, that's obviously DXY. If you're gonna look, and again, I'm currently looking at the daily time frame, you can see how slowly the trend is changing, at least in this 5-year time frame is changing, how slowly it's changing on a daily time frame, how many days it takes to a resistance to be tested and then getting rejected. So trend would change. It takes weeks, sometimes even months. So obviously the current resistance plus W shape recovery is a bullish one for the DXY, plus nice momentum support. And even if you're gonna have, for example, this downtrend resistance, because again, if you're gonna look at the general and overall time frame for the DXY, it's in a big downtrend, but it's too big of a time frame to even look at and say it's like some short term or mid term. It's pretty long termish, like monthly time frame we are talking about. So the current resistance, the closest one, which is obviously on the based on a weekly time frame, on a closes and opens on the candles, the current would be which is not that far away, $97.5. But even if this resistance is gonna get tested, gonna get rejected, then we're gonna have a pullback to the closest support. It can take like weeks, man. So obviously DXY is looking bullish for the short mid-term. And obviously if you're gonna look at the weekly time frame, for example, recent 3 candles on the weekly time frame was 3 big green candles. Obviously, I cannot say the word that I was trying to say because some of the podcast platform is not allowing this word. So let's just say 3 big green candles. If you're from China, it would be 3 big red candles because they're using red candles there. It's kind of reversed there. But if you're from obviously not China, it would be 3 big candles. Because apparently somebody is watching from China, man. I was looking at the statistics. And 3 big green candles on a DXY recent one is green one. And obviously if you're gonna look at the BTC, I don't know why it's taking so long. On a BTC, the first out of these 3 candles was actually the top. And since that we had a correction. On the second candle it was pretty huge red candle, and the current one is obviously still the red one. We're currently trading literally at the bottom of the previous one. So obviously Bitcoin is moving opposite, completely reverse compared to the DXY because of DXY pumping, as you can imagine. Also, so yeah, that's one of the bearish sentiment for the short and mid-term for the Bitcoin. But obviously, if DXY gonna get rejected from gonna find a top, and it would be pretty bullish for the Bitcoin. But obviously it can take times because it's a pretty slow-moving thing, DXY. Also, if we already talked about DXY, let's then talk about. We already talked about stock market. I mentioned stock market, so let's talk about stock market. Yeah, which is we don't talk about this thing a lot, but as you can imagine, I invested in the stock market, and there's a pretty interesting thing that ARK Invest, for example, Cathy Woods from ARK Invest, she has a YouTube channel. I'm not actually following her. I used to follow her trades, but not anymore. It's too. She has too many analysts and traders. And for me to be as a one unit and, reading all of that and trying to understand the outlook on each trade that they are having on each day, it's like you need a lot of time for that one. But once in a month, she's making this type of videos on a YouTube, which is like market outlook. She's targeting all of the sectors, I'm pretty sure, and she said about in the recent video about the current state of the stock market, which is if you're gonna look at the stock market, for example, S&P 500, the average growth per year to date, each year average would be 14-15, is pretty good one for the stock market, obviously, and the current one would be 28%. Roughly, where is this? Like 28% the current year-to-date growth, and currently stock market is trading at all-time highs. So the reason why she said, and it's pretty obvious one, she said it's money printing, but in this case was actually a more specific one. The reason why stock market is going up so much because of retail, because all of this money printing that is. Why those money is being printed? Because for people to buy some goods or food, whatever the case may be. So rather than buying some goods, people are buying some assets. In this case, investment assets, stock market, stocks. So yeah. So it's her opinion on it's her outlook on a current 2x. From an average on a S&P 500 that we are having right now on a year-to-date growth, and we are currently trading literally at like 1% from all-time highs. Jesus. So obviously, if you're gonna have like 10% correction, that would be pretty normal. But if you're gonna look at the, for example, COVID crash, it had pretty rough effect on a Bitcoin. And and when market's crashing, stock market is crashing, Bitcoin is also getting affected by that. So obviously, if we're gonna have, and keeping in mind why it's pretty obvious that it's possible to have like 10% correction, and it would be a pretty healthy one. But because retail, those money are coming, this growth and money is coming from retail, and you know damn well retail is can be scared pretty easily, and retail sentiment is pretty volatile. It's not some I don't know, big asset management firm that is managing like billions, trillions of dollars that can like just buy like those money that is in the stock market right now, of this volume that is happening on a stock market, is not from like some foreign countries that is investing in American stocks because they are bullish. I mean, those companies, big companies and management firms, if they would invest those money in a S&P 500, it would be pretty bullish one for the short term, for the mid term, because that's a pretty big whales. It's a pretty big players. They don't care about volatility, but you know, retail, considering that majority of this growth is from retail, and retail is volatile, so it can have some. There's a possibility of crash there. So that's that's some outlook from Katie Wood, and I'm pretty sure that's what she meant by saying that majority of the reason of growth is from retail that is buying assets rather than investment assets rather than goods. So yeah, and eventually those money will be pulled up to buy some goods. Like, it's not some again, it's not some firm that is investing because the reason of this firm is investing. People is investing to make some money, then to pull up the thing and buy some goods. Because again, that's a people, you know. As soon as they're gonna make some money, they're gonna just buy some weird stuff like a lamp, a yacht, I don't know, helicopter, plane. Yeah, so you get the point. Retail is pretty volatile, and obviously, I forgot, it's a Bitcoin hodler channel. We should talk about Bitcoin. So you get the point. Bitcoin will get affected by that for sure. But again, short midterm for the stock market, considering that we are trading at the all-time highs, 2x from average growth on the S&P 500, there's a possibility there. So even considering the comment that DXY is short midterm bullish, considering stock markets are looking pretty scary right now, considering that retail is in control of the current growth. Oh my god, that even sounds more scary. Yeah, obviously short term for the Bitcoin is not looking strong, but long term, guys, don't forget about long term, because we all here for the long term. That's a reason why this channel is called HODLER, because hodling is for the long term, not for the short. Like, imagine, oh, I'm just gonna hodl, and you're gonna just, hodl some asset for like 2 days. It's not hodling, it's just I don't know, day trading at this point. So hodling is like a year type of time frame, year to 5. I mean, long term on the stock market is like 5 years considered, and I mean on a crypto market probably it's pretty different time frames, considering how people can call short term or mid term. Like, so yeah, there's the also finally, let's move. That's all TA for today. Let's move on to the news that we don't have a lot, but it's a pretty bullish one from Australia. So Australia's Rest Super Retirement Fund will invest in crypto for its 1.8 million members. All these, whatever you call them, members. So yeah, that's a pretty bullish, obviously, news for the Bitcoin and crypto in general. So yeah, short term was obviously for a Bitcoin is not looking good, that's for sure. But mid term, there's some signals of mid term. Let's just say looking pretty neutralish, because if we're gonna talk TA, obviously midterm is still looking bullish because we got the support on a midterm. But if you're gonna take like a DXY stock market and other metrics, and there was a recent one that that Bitcoin had the most exchanges had the most inflow of Bitcoin on the exchange, and like all-time high type of inflow. Because if you're gonna look at the YouTubers, they used to say like, oh, the biggest outflow, the word outflow of the Bitcoin out of the exchange, like whales took it out, and now it's actually inflow, and nobody is talking about inflow, but it is pretty bearish one. It's literally opposite of outflow. So yeah, short term is Jesus. Even on-chain metrics are pretty bearish one for the Bitcoin on the short term. So still again, 53k is our support. I never had actually support below like 58.8k except of the 53k. So obviously we're trying to find this some support here at the 56k, which would be the double bottom on the RSI, but again, that's not pretty significant one, and plus there's no third bottom on RSI right now, and there's still possibility of 53k being tested, and obviously hoping for the rejection and new all-time high in a mid or definitely long term. So yeah, to the moon.